What's going on, guys? Part 8 of Data Analyst. I'm actually uploading a part 7 to the YouTube channel. If you want to check out the YouTube channel, it's under Labradoodle, L4B4 DOODL3. So, not conventional spelling. Got my Slack channel up. Today we are going to start the beginner lessons. So just watched the video last time on SQL, SQL. I forgot what it stands for already. Something language. But I'm going to start on that today. I'm going to do some beginner lessons. Select from beginner lessons to next question. Right? Okay, so introduction. The SQL select statement is a fundamental command used to retrieve data from a database. Understand the statement. For the basic syntax of the select statement, learn how to retrieve data from a database. Basic select begins with select fallback. Selecting only the necessary columns can optimize data retrieval, reduce network traffic, and improve query performance. Oh, I should get. Thomas trying to find a fly. Take some notes. Master note taker right here. Scrap paper. It's a full sheet. Thank you. Basic syntax. Select statement. Retrieve all columns from table. Use asterisk as a wildcard. The syntax for the select. Commas. Wow. Aliases are used to provide temporary names for columns and result. You can assign alias using the AS word. The syntax select column as if provide more prescriptive names for shortening lengthy column names in the output. Alias 1. Column 2 is alias 2 from tail name. We can rename alias AS. Simple select from employees, selecting specific columns, select employee ID, product. In summary, this SQL select statement is used to retrieve data from database. It allows you to specify the desired columns and files for better readability.
Hello, hello, hello. Word on the street is you want to become like a sequel master. I heard it in passing. So I'm here to make sure that we help you towards achieving that. The most, I would say, fundamental condition, function that you want to learn in terms of syntax and language from SQL is a select from, right? So this is already the response or the answer from the question here in this lesson. What is a select from? What is it about? Let's understand it and with an example illustrate what it does. So the select does is it retrieves columns from a table, right? You can decide to retrieve all columns from the table in a database. You would do that by doing a select star, right? But you can retrieve specific columns. You can specify the columns you actually want by calling out the columns. Select whatever columns you want to select. So select column one, column two. You separate the select values or the column values with a comma. But essentially, it allows you to retrieve information from a table within a database based on the columns that you specify from that table. Okay. Now let's illustrate this with an example. The from command as well is you're specifying then what table you're retrieving the values from or the information from. In this question here, it's saying retrieve the email of customers with aliases customer email. So I'm just going to copy this and I'm going to put it in here. So if I do command, so I did command C there and then command V here. What I'm going to do is to comment this, you're going to learn this trick now. So you do a command / or a control / if you're using a PC, right? But if you're using a Mac, it's command / okay. And what that does is it comments out the anything that's in the editor. Like if I run this now, it will bring an empty set, meaning, so what I want to look for is what you want to look for not the expected output here, is your output. So if you scroll down, see your output brings empty set, which means nothing. You didn't retrieve any information. A nifty trick for you to write your pseudo code or output. So if you scroll down, see slash, okay, and what that does, and I'm gonna put it in here. So if I do command, so I did command C there and then command V here. What I'm gonna do is to comment this. You're gonna learn this trick now. So you do a command / or a control forward slash if you're using a PC, right? But if you're using a Mac, it's command forward slash. Okay, and what that does is it comments out the anything that's in the editor. Like if I run this now, it will bring an empty set, meaning so what I want to look for is your what you want to look for not is
Command.
not the expected output here, is your output. So if you scroll down, see your output brings empty set, which means nothing. You didn't retrieve any information. A nifty trick for you to write your pseudo code or break down what it is. As you go down the different lessons, there will be opportunity for you to break down the code that you're writing. I'll be breaking down code with you so you can understand the logic behind why I've written code the way I've written it. But in this instance, it's actually asking for the aliases. So email of customers, that's what it wants. So we want to select the email of customers with alias customer email. That's fine. Let's look at what the table generally looks like though. So if we go down and so we know it's the customers table. Okay, so if I did, let's do like a select star, okay, from customers, okay, and if I did this, if I do copy and then paste here, so I'm selecting star from customers. Now I'm gonna write this condition or function here called limit, right? And I'm gonna do a 5. You're gonna learn about this in a future lesson. But what this does is it prevents you from querying other rows from the table. Say if the table in the company you're working for had like 1 billion rows, you don't want to be querying 1 billion rows, right? So this limit 5 kind of condition or syntax retrieves only 5 rows, right? If I did 10, it will retrieve 10 rows. You get to learn more about this, as you go down the lessons. But let's just look at what does the table look like. So if I run this now, before I run this, I'm going to remember to comment this out so it doesn't affect the code, command forward slash or control forward slash if you're on a PC. Okay, let's run this now. Okay, so I've run it and we're not looking for the expected output, we're looking for your output. So here, you can see it shows us customer ID. So this is what the table has. Customer ID, customer name, age, city, email, what else? Address as well. Okay. So what they're saying though is they want the email of customers. So we don't want all this stuff. They just want the email. And they want you to alias it as customer email. Right? Here it's just named email, but what you can do is you can say, I want you to change the name. It's called alias. What does that mean? Let me explain. So if I do like a select, they say they want the customer email, right? So here it's written as emails. That's the name of the column. So I'm going to copy that, paste, right? Select email, but they want it to be customer email, right? So I'm going to say as customer email. When it shows the result, it's not going to show email. You will see when I run this, it will show customer email. Okay, so select email as customer email, and then the from, where are we selecting it from? From the customer table. Command C, Command V is what I did there. Control C, Control V will be if you're on a Mac. We don't need this anymore. I've already seen what the table looks like. I see the name of the column I want. I've aliased it as customer email, right? And then I'm selecting it from this table. So I'm going to comment this out. Command forward slash or control forward slash if you're on a PC. All right, so let's run this. Perfect. So as we can see, you don't want to look at the expected output, you want to look at your output. So it's changed the name. You remember before it listed email. If I remove this, if I didn't put this, if I commented this out, for example, and run it, it will just write email as the output. Right, let me show you. Right, it writes email. But you can alias the way you want it to read on the table results, right? So if we alias it as customer email and run it again, and it gives us the customer email, not the expected, we want your output, so this one. And that is the select from. You're on your way to becoming a SQL master. All right, on to the next lesson.
Select. forward slash. There we go. Select from, there we go. Select from customers. Oh shoot, what am I doing? Oh, select. Retrieve the email of customer's alias, customer email. So select customers. Select email. Select. Oh, from. What have I done? What if it's not in the right order? Oh, same shit. What? Go back to that video again. Sorry.
As customer email. When it shows the result, it's not going to show email. You will see when I run this, it will show customer email. Okay, so select email as customer email, and then the from, where are we selecting it from? From the customer table. Command C, Command V is what I did there. Control C, Control V will be if you're on a Mac. We don't need this anymore. I've already seen what the table looks like. I see the name of the column I want. I've aliased it as customer email, right? And then I'm selecting it from this table. So I'm going to comment this out. Command forward slash or control forward slash if you're on a PC. All right, so let's run this. Perfect. So as we can see, you don't want to look at the expected output, you want to look at your output. So it's changed the name. You remember before it listed email. If I remove this, if I didn't put this, if I commented this out, for example, and run it, it will just write email as the output. Right, let me show you. Right, it writes email. But you can alias the way you want it to read on the table results. Right, so if we alias it as customer email and run it again, and it gives us customer email, not the expected. We want your output. So this one. And that is a select from. You're on your way to becoming a SQL master. All right, on to the next lesson.
Mm. SQL where clause allows you to filter database and specific condition. Mm. Use logical operations and or not to create more content. These HR is making 90K. What the fuck? Finance. Finance. Wait. Finance. Oh, combo. Oh, equals electronics. Or salary. Apartment. Let's run that shit. Run it. Mm. Oh, it just broke it down this way. Got it. Oh, I do one line.
The where condition, okay, one of the fundamental conditions in SQL. So the where condition is used to filter out specific rows from a table where, like, I don't want to use the same word where. Okay, it helps you filter certain data values from a table that meet certain
Criteria.
conditions. But let's break it down. I'll help you understand it better with an example here, right? So, what is the question asking? Asking here to find. Let's do some pseudo breakdown here. So, I've just copied that question, Command C, and make sure this is blinking and black, and then Command V, Control V, Control C for APC. Right? So find out the employees working in finance department. So working employees working in finance department with salary at least 70,000. Display the employee ID first name. So employee ID, first name, last name of employee. right? So I'm going to imagine it's from the employee table, right? Employees, not employee, right? There we go. Employees. Hmm? Employees. There we go. So I'm going to do a from here because that's what they want. Display just means select. Okay, so we already have what they want us to select, but there's a condition, right? The where condition. What is that condition? Find out employees working in the finance
Mm.
department with a salary of at least 70,000. If we commented all this out, right? Command forward slash or control forward slash if you're on a PC. What I want to do is just quickly first query the entire table just so I can see what it looks like. I don't want to select 8. I'm trying to select stuff from the employees table. So just copy this, Command C, Control C, Command V, Control V. I want to do a limit, right? We've learned that we use limits not to create the entire table. You know, if your company has 1 million rows, I always like to say that you don't want to be creating a million rows by doing select star without a limit. So let's just look at what this table looks like, the data. So if I scroll down, so it has employee ID, first name, last name, department, salary. It has manager ID. Okay. So what they're saying is they want us to bring back this column, this column, this column from this table, right? Values from those columns, and they also want us to bring back the on the condition that the salary is at least 70,000. So what when you run this, what it's going to look if you run it correctly, if you write the correct script, it's going to check this row. Is the salary greater? Is it at least 70,000? Oh, if it's not, right? So it's going to skip this. Is this? It's not. That's not. That is at least, and that is at least. So from this limit sample of 5 that we brought back, these 2 rows are going to come out. So Emily and David, right? For more rows that match that criteria will come out. So you can see how the logic, right, and how it's going to bring the data, the values out, or the rows out. So let's comment this out then go back to our query, right in our query. So it's command forward slash uncomment it. Okay. Now the condition is where, okay, salary, which is here. Copy that. So that's a command C, Control C, Command V, Control V. Where salary is at least, so it's at least, right? So it is greater than or equal to
Mm.
70,000, right? Greater than or equal to 70,000. All right. So if we run this now, it gives us the answer we're expecting. These employees have a salary of at least 70,000, and that is a where condition for you.
Select employee ID. Oh no, what happened? Select employee ID. First name, last name. Let's run it. Select employee ID. Limit 5. Do equal. What if I do reverse? Oh, oh, gotcha. Motherfucker. Got it. Comparison operators. Where condition? Comparison. SQL comparison operators. The enabling of value conditions and filter database on specific. The most commonly used SQL comparison. And learn how to apply them effective retrieve. No, commonly use equal to equal select from equals electronics. Not equal. Oh no. Where department? Not equal finance. Other than finance. Yep. Amount of 1,000. Less than. Mm, the lesser than equal. Oh. Pending. Find out the product having unit price at least 150 and unit price not more than 700. Display the product name. Okay, select from products. price at least 150. Products, display from products. From product name. Oh, where unit price. Oh, where unit price. Find out the product having a unit price of at least 150. Or unit price. Product. Oh, where product name. Is greater than or equal to. Oh shit.
All right, comparison operators. So this is the solution. I'm going to comment it out so I can show you some pseudo logic around how we got there. And let's look at what are comparison operators, and then we can solidify that understanding with an example. So as the word says, comparison operators, just it helps you bring out rows or filter out rows based on how those rows or the data in those rows, the values of the data in those rows compare against the other data in other rows, right? So you can say, I want you to bring back stuff that's bigger than this amount, or equal to this amount, or not equal to this amount, right? So you're comparing it against data that's already there, right? So let's break it down with an example. Okay, so question here is find out the product. Okay, so we want the product having unit price at least, so the unit price should be at least 150 and unit price not more than 700. Okay, display the product name. Okay, so I'm going to put product name as what it is they're asking for, but this I'm going to comment this out. So command / control / if you're on a Mac or PC, right? So they will definitely want us to bring the product name. Okay, and those are the conditions above. So let me just say this is what they want. That's what the question is asking. Move this like so. Okay, now find out the product having, and it's from the products table. Okay, so it's from the products table. How do I know that? Because I see the products table here, but it says product. Copy that to Command C, Control C if you're on a PC, Mac, vice versa, or the other way around. And then make sure this is black. As I'm blinking, then you do a Command V or Control V. Now, so let me just see firsthand what this table looks like. So we can, once we have an understanding of the table, it helps with us querying information from the table. I'm going to also use it to help you understand what whatever query we're going to write is doing. So I'm going to do a select star from products. It's always good to do a limit, right? So you're not querying all the rows of the data. If you're in a company and they have like a table with 1 million rows, you don't want to be querying that, right? That's too resource intensive, cost the business. Okay, so I'm gonna comment this out. I highlighted everything. Command / Control / for PC. I'm gonna run this just so I can see what the table looks like. So the table brings us. This is what our output. Your output is what you're interested in. So product ID, product name, category, and unit price. Right? So what they're saying is find out the product having the unit price at least 150, okay, and unit price not more than 700. So at least 150. So it's going to bring back this row, and it shouldn't be more than 700. So it's going to bring back this row and this row from the sample size, because we only did a limit 5, right? So it's only brought back 5 rows. But they said they want us to bring the product name back, so it will bring back washing machine and printer from this sample size. But let's do it for the entire table then. So I'm going to comment this out and then uncomment this. Right, the same command. All right, so we write the where condition. Okay, unit price, and the way it's written is unit price here. We can see it in the table. Command V or Control V if you're on a PC, right? Where unit price, right? So at least 150. So I'm gonna put a bracket here where unit price is at least 150. So it's it's greater than 150 or equal to 150. Right? That's what that means. So product having unit price at least 150 and unit price not more than 700. Okay. So, and the unit price less than or equal to 700. Okay. So, in a nutshell, I'm bringing back all the product names from the products table where the unit price is greater than or equal to 150 and the unit price is less than or equal to 700. Okay. So if I run this now, it says unknown column 150 in where clause? 150. Okay. I must have written an O instead of a 0.
Huh?
That's why. All right. It's good that so you get to see how you can troubleshoot things like this. Should run fine now. All right. So you get all the results where the unit price is greater than or equal to 150 and the unit price is less than or equal to 700. That's comparison operators for you. On to the next lesson.
Nice. I got it. Okay. Alright. Phew.
a table called
Recording in
persons.
progress.
And in persons, let's say there is Johanna, there is Nia, and there is a Hanif. So today they are, each one of them are in New York. Tomorrow, let's say Johanna have migrated to California. So you need to update that record, right? You cannot have
Right.
the same table where Johanna is staying in New York. So
Right.
you will, in that case, what we do is there is already a primary key called Johanna in there. We only need to update her location. We don't need to insert it anything new because it's already present. Now let's say
Right.
a new
So are
person.
you gonna add it like in a column or in a row?
No, you're going to update the row. See, that
Okay.
is again a good question. You can have a column called is active to just mention or to just need to do some soft delete. Johanna can have two records in a table where old record is pointing to New York, new record is pointing to California. And beside old record, there is one more column called is active column. It will be having no. And the record which is having California, it will be having yes. So that we still hold historical data, and we can also identify what is new data by having is active column. Following?
So what my fear is actually, so like there's gonna be a duplicate of ID number if you're just gonna add it in a row.
It's fine. You can have duplicates. What happens if you have duplicate of ID numbers?
And then when we're gonna do like unique ID store like IDs and it's going to remove one.
No. See, primary key will be unique. The primary key here will be combination of multiple columns.
Okay.
See, Johanna can have multiple records in a table.
Yeah, you're
Why,
right.
why do we need to have unique here? There is no need.
I
Okay,
want
but
to
like
test my
Mm.
Sorry. Hanif,
sorry, I want to test my knowledge on this.
definitely
Let's
test.
say if there
Yes.
is a new store is opened
Okay.
and that new store comes into the fact table
Correct.
and basically you basically get anything that is not there in the currently in the dimension tables,
Yeah.
okay, and then if that is not there in any of the dimension tables and
Okay.
it only it has that row
In
in the
fact
fact
table.
table, that means
Yeah.
it needs to be inserted into the corresponding dimension table.
Yeah. It is data inconsistency. Before anything comes into fact table, it should come into dimension first. If that's how the case is, somewhere data is not properly flowing, or we need to manually enter it in dimension table. You're correct. That is what is star schema, where you have connection between dimensions and facts.
Fact is whatever is happening, it's a transactional.
That's tough. I don't know what that is. Yo. Holy crap. Yeah. Okay, so select product name from products table, which is this. Table from products. Where the unit price. Oh, he bracketed it out though for where. less than or equal to 700, right? Less than or equal to 700. Run it. Submit answer. There we go. Wait, what? Wait, why does it say I didn't do this? Just gonna type it out the way. Oh, wait. And, my bad, and run. Oh, and, sorry. This is less than or equal to. Let's see what two brackets on this do that count. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Like what? Logical operators. Alright, do one more, and then probably call it a break here. SQL logical or essential logical operators, comparison operators, logical. Combine multiple conditions to create powerful and precise data true statement. By using logical operators and or not, you can perform complex filtering and make more sophisticated between data elements in this new select column 1, 2 from table where condition 1 logical or condition 2 true all conditions represent select from the word department sales and salary. Salary is 5,000. Or the or operator combines two or more conditions and returns, for example, select from part where or appliances. Where from the category or belong to either or and where or not and or not. more sophisticated by understanding utilizing examples. Construct precise data. Retrieve the employee ID. First name, last name, whether have a salaried grade or are in the finance department. Oh gosh. Alright, we're going.
Okay, logical operators. That's what we're looking at now. Okay, let me just comment this out so we can work backwards and do some pseudo breakdown of the answer and understand what logical operators are. Okay, so what are logical operators? So logical operators are bits of code that you can use to filter out rows from a table using conditions. It will become all clear with an example. So let's go to the example here and break down pseudo logic and kind of work it out. So it's saying here, retrieve the employee ID, first name, last name. So I'm copying this. It wants us to retrieve the employee ID. The question wants us to retrieve the employee ID, first name, last name. Okay, put that down, and then of employees. Okay, who either. So this is now the condition. Okay, who either have a salary greater. So who, I'm just going to break this down, either have a salary greater than this or are in the finance department. Okay, so this is the criteria. Retrieve this from this table, right? Who either have a salary greater than that or are in the finance department. So when it says retrieve, this is the same thing as doing like a select here. And from employees, okay. These are the columns that we want to bring back, but this is not the condition. So that's why we use our where clause to do the filtering. Now, before we even do that filtering, I'm just going to comment this out. Command / for a Mac, Control / for a PC. Okay, let's just look at what the table actually looks like. So if I do a select star from, and I do employees, always a good idea to do like a limit so you're not being resource intensive on the task that you're doing. If the company had like 1,000,000 rows in the table and you're doing a select star, it's going to be selecting
Limit
1,000,000 rows.
5.
You don't want that. Just want a small sample size. We can do a limit 5. Let's run that just so we can see what the table looks like. It's not going to give us the right answer. That's fine. But I just want to see from our output. Yeah, output, your output below here. What does the table look like? So employee ID, first name, last name, department, salary, manager ID as well. Okay, so what they're saying is the question is asking to bring back the employee ID. So we don't need all these columns. We just need this column, this column, this column. So this column, this column, and this column. And then we only want to bring back the rows now that have a salary greater than 70,000 or in the finance department. Okay, so what it's going to do first, then it's going to look at every row one at a time, and then go to the first row, and is the salary greater than 70,000? No, right? Then it applies another condition. Okay, or is the department in finance? No, it's in sales, so it's not going to bring back this row. Next row, greater than 70,000? No. Is the department in finance? No. So it doesn't match any of those conditions, so it won't bring back this row. Next one, greater than 70,000? No. No. For department,
They
so
have to
that's
be
not
in the
gonna
finance
come
department.
back. Greater than 70,000? No, but it's in the finance department. So it's going to bring back Emily Lee as a record, as a row from the results. It's also going to bring back David Wong because it's higher. It matches both, but it just needed to match one. Just trying to show you how the results are calculated and then brought out as a table. Okay, so let's then comment out this and then finish our query. So if I come here and do from employees, and then we do the where, okay, we do where salary, so we know this salary. I'm doing a Command C. You can do Control C if you're on a PC. Its cursor is gray, make sure it's black, and then you can do Command V or Control V, PC or Mac. Okay, so where salary is greater than, so we use a greater than symbol, greater than 70,000, or yeah, finance, or sorry, department, excuse me, or department equals finance. Okay, all right, that's what it's asking for. So select these columns from the employees where salary is this or department is that. So she'll bring back those rows I've talked about, but bring out other rows that match. Let's run this. So it said we have a syntax error here. All right, okay, this is the issue then. This comma here, right? So before the or, so I'm going to take that comma there. Perhaps it doesn't understand what that is. So we run this. That should run. So I think even if I did this now, that should run. I think it was the comma and then the zeros. It wasn't recognizing it. So if I run this now, that should run. There we go. So it's brought back results where the salary is 70,000 or the department is finance. And that's the logical operator, right? This is one of the logical operators. As we go down, you'll see the use of the more different logical operators as we explore the other beginner sections or the other beginner lessons.
Okay, so output question. Yeah, I got that from. See, I was right. Right. From employees. Let's go. Where salary? See. So where salary? Which is that? Is greater than equal. Or or department. Department, and then has to equal finance. Oh man. Oh shit. All right. Yep. I do. 12. Hold on. Take. There we go. I'm like, right. That just brought everybody in there. Okay. Ah, there we go. Expected output. I get it. 459. No, no, no. Like operator. Okay. And moving along, moving along. Like operator. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna take a break here. Maybe go through all these. There's a lot though. That's not bad. Limit offset. And then, yeah. AI course, baby. Damn. What is this? Holy crap. Whoa. Whoa. Crackers? What the fuck? Let's do the beginner lessons. Let's get through that. Alright guys. See you in the next video.